So this is, I'm not sure if this is streaming live or if it's being recorded. I set it to be recorded. However, this is looking real live to me. It's looking real live. All right. So if we're live, then we're here and we're live here on YouTube. If this is pre-recorded, then thank goodness because this is meant to be recorded and posted a little bit later. But whichever way, I came to share something that just on Saturdays, and it's not just on Saturdays. I mean, daily I am given revelations about things in the scriptures. I don't have to carry my Bible around with me. I read it just like I would read any of these books that are behind me on this huge bookshelf that I have, right? I have over 30 years of the study and experience, and I will continue because I don't profess to know all things. Like I am not all knowing. I am not Yahweh. I am in him, but I am not him. Right. So when we talk about, submission, the submission talk, submission of the woman submitting to the man and things like that, that is to show our submission to our Heavenly Father, the creator of heaven and the earth, the creator of the new heaven and new earth and all that exists, right? And the metaphysical meaning of that is man submitting unto Yahweh, just as like I said, wives submit unto your husbands as unto Yahweh, because mankind in general, is to submit unto Yahweh. So in showing that in principle, it would be wife submitting unto the love of her husband who she trusts, that will lead her into good things or goodness, not hell. Let's get that clear, right? Because there's a lot of stuff about that. But that's not why I came here again. It is because as I was sitting here and I was actually there's something that came to mind. We do have the study of the soul, the metaphysical journey on Saturdays, which is today, right? At 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. Central, and we did have that. So as I was wrapping up and I was doing some things, it came to me. I was looking at my charts, and there's a pattern. There's a pattern that Yahweh operates throughout his creation, throughout the ages and dispensation. Yahweh is not bound by time, right? Yahweh is eternal, which has no beginning or ending, right? So nothing predates Yahweh's existence because his existence is eternal. However, I was looking at the ages and dispensations chart, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to pull it up here, and I think we must be live because I see two. I see some eyes watching. So I'm going to pull this up because I don't want to just um let me see, let me go. Nope. So okay, so I'm going to have to stop my screen share really quick, and then I'll go back to my screen share because I want to pull up the window. All right. Okay. So I'm talking about time, right? Like we need to know where we are in time. We are At the at the end of this age, the fourth age in the sixth dispensation, revelation of Yahshua Messiah. And what came to me as I was looking at this was we're in the sixth dispensation. The number of man is six because you have the five senses, right? Um, and that we know of, that we were taught in like elementary school, being sight, touch, sound, taste, and smell. But there's a sixth sense, which is the psychic sense. Six. The number of man is six. This psychic sense. And so we're at the sixth dispensation, at the end of the fourth age, sixth dispensation. And that number six being the psychic sense. And it came to me that this is the rise that we have now, right? What are we seeing? We are witnessing, as a matter of fact, I'm just going to read what I was actually writing down as a post. In this sixth dispensation, at the end of the fourth age, psychics and psychologists will be on the rise, and they are on the rise. And psychological behaviors are being exposed. Well, why is that? Because we're in the sixth dispensation at the end of it. The number of man or mankind is six: psyche, sight, touch, sound, taste, and smell. Now, here's the thing: mankind is perfected in alignment with spirit and truth, which is perfection. So, the number of man being six, having these six senses, so to speak, right? The psychic sense, the sight, touch, sound, taste, and smell. We must be in alignment or at one mint or one, like Yahshua prayed. Father, make them one as we are one. So this submission is to submit these six senses of ours, right? Under what? Spirit. Those that worship Yahweh must worship him in spirit and in truth. That gives us seven, spirit being seven or perfection. The number of seven. The number seven is the number of perfection, not nine. Seven. In perfection of us being one in spirit, Yahweh's spirit, and in truth. Now you have that number eight, infinity, life, the number of life, right? Regenerative. Now that we have new life or regenerative or regenerating, because our bodies are regenerating. Nine being complete or completion, just like 40 weeks is 9 solar months that it takes for a body, a human body, to be formed and complete and then born, and then the spirit inhabits that body, right? 9 months in the building, which is 40 weeks, just like the temple and the tabernacle was what? 40 weeks in the building, 9 months. So 9 is a complete number. When you look at the number system, you have from 0 to 9, and then it starts back over, right? That's complete. So 9, you have what? We have Yahweh's 9 divine attributes, which is wisdom, intelligence, knowledge, beauty, love, justice, foundation, power, and strength. 9. We have 9 systems in the body. We have the reproductive system, we have the nervous system, we have the endocrine system, we have the digestive system, we have these 9 systems in the body. We have 9 planets for the solar system. It's a system. So if we are made in the image and likeness of our Father, Yahweh Elohim, and his attributes or characteristics are these nine must operate in us, and you shall know them by their fruit. So with these nine divine attributes or characteristics operating in us as they do our Father, then now we have nine fruits of the Spirit. Galatians chapter 5, starting at verse 22. You shall know them by their fruit. Well, what is that fruit that we should know them by? We should know them by their love. We should know them by their joy. We should know them by their peace. We should know them by their endurance or long suffering, right? We should know them by their gentleness or their kindness. We should know them by their goodness or their righteousness, which is Yahweh's righteousness, right? Not our own. We don't have our own righteousness. We should know them by their faith, trust, right? We should know them by their meekness or humility, being humble. We should know them by their what? Self-control, their temperance, their ability to control themselves, moderate themselves, right? That's how we should know. You should know them by their fruits. Now, first of all, do we have those fruits? Do we have these nine divine attributes or characteristics operating in us? And have we developed these fruits because of that when our attributes or our character is tested? Because our character should be that of Yahweh's nine divine attributes. This is our Father, right? We should look like him in character. And when these trials and these tests of life comes, and that's not to say that, because look, Yahweh gets angry, Yahweh has wrath, but we leave that to him. We move out the way when when the stuff come. But you know what I mean, right? So I wanted to share this. Now I'm going to stop this screen share and go back to where I was in the beginning here, because it brought to mind. Uh-oh, what happened? Okay, there we go. Brought to mind a dream that I had. I have a lot of dreams. I have many dreams. Um and then there's the difference between the dreams that you have, right? Some are like psychic dumps, some are, maybe warnings, and some are prophetic, all right? Some just apply to you and your situation or, whatever, and some are literally prophetic. So this particular dream was a prophetic one. Um I had this dream in November 1999. I wish I had remembered to write down the actual date, but it was I remember it being the month of November 1999. And it started off with at the time I just had 3 children, but only 2 of my children were in the dream. It was my second, because I have twins. I have twin daughters. They were born first, and then my son, and after that it was just boys, just all males, right? Two, two female, two daughters, and five sons. But at the time, it was the three, my twin daughters and my son, my eldest son. The daughters are the first borns, but it was the second twin, my second twin daughter, and my son. They were the only two in the dream with me. And we were in like the middle, I just say the middle of the universe. And we were standing on soil. This is how the dream opened up. And while I was standing on the soil in the middle of the universe, and it was like the heavens, but it was dark outside. It was dark. Like nighttime. I would say that it was nighttime. I could see the stars and the moon. And so I'm standing there and I look down and I noticed the soil. And I kneeled down and I put my hand in the soil and brought it up. And the soil was so rich. And I said, "Ooh, this is some good, rich soil. I got to be careful what I put down here because whatever I put down here will grow." It was that rich. And then I stood up and I looked up. I saw the stars and I saw the moon. And the moon was dim. It was full, but it was dim. And I could see like the craters, and you know how you see like the face of the moon and everything. And then I looked back down and saw my son and my daughter and myself. We were like tilling in this soil while we were working in the soil. And there was some stalks, like one side was a little higher than the other side. And we were just working and tilling in the soil. And then this scorpion snake looking things. It was like a scorpion serpent. It was like a scorpion, but the way it moved like real serpentile, right? Like how a snake moves. So we saw it and we were trying to step on it. Like we were trying to kill it. Like, you know, we trying to step on it and to get away and and trying to kill this thing without hurting ourselves because of the tail. And so I remember my daughter, she had this just kind of look on her face. It was just kind of like she was not frustrated, but just like, it was just kind of just this look like she was tired of us trying to kill this thing and nothing working. So she just picked it up. Now, mind you, at the time I had this dream, my children were, and they were the ages that they were then in that dream. They were like probably like 12 and 10, or something like that. So she picked it up, and I was afraid. Like a parental fear that, like if you had like your child was out there in the backyard and they're like 3 or 4 years old or something, and then they come back and they're like, "Mom, look what I got." And they had this huge snake in their hand. And you're just like, OMG. Like, you know, I don't want this thing to hurt my baby. It was that. I felt that in the dream. And I looked like, so I was calm. In this dream, I was calm and I said to her, "Open your hands. I want to cut this thing and I don't want to hurt you." So she opened her hand and I was afraid. about her even opening her hand, like, oh my gosh, she has a grasp on this thing. I don't want it to sting her. But then if she opened up her hand and it falls out, like it was just all of these things going on through my mind in the dream, but at the same time, I'm remaining calm. And okay, I was making sure my mic was on. And so she opened her hand, and somewhere it was like some garden scissors. I took those scissors and I kind of went through her fingers and I cut the little serpent. That was the best way to really describe it. It was a serpent. It was like a cross between a scorpion, and a serpent. So, a scorpion. So this scorpion, I cut it in half and then I took it from her immediately because I didn't want her to throw it on the ground, on the soil. The soil was so rich that if she had threw it on the ground or on the soil, even though I had cut it, it would have grown. It would have come back to life and grown even bigger. Like I had all of these forethoughts about what would happen while I was doing what I was doing. So I cut it in half. I grabbed it from her hand and I threw it up. Like I did not want to throw it on the ground. I threw it up. And when I threw it up, it landed on top of one of the stalks. Because remember in the beginning of the dream, I said there was some stalks growing and one row or one side was higher than the other side. So it landed on top of the stalks and it just withered away in smoke. Not fire, but smoke. It just withered away in smoke and died. And as soon as that happened, I looked back up towards the moon and water was pouring out of the moon, like out of those craters. The water was just pouring out and pouring out. And I could see the water level like going down, 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 down as the water was just pouring out of this moon. And as soon as it finished pouring out, I mean, the last drop poured out and a bright moon appeared. It was a bright moon. And when that happened, the sun started rising up slowly on the side of the moon until it got equal with the moon. And at that particular time, I I knew about the signs of astrology, but I didn't know the deeper intricacies of astrology at that time. I knew all the zodiacs and the Aries and all the way through the Pisces, and that's what I knew. But I didn't there were other things that I didn't know yet at that particular time. So I didn't know about at that time about the, conjunctions and the geometry, the sacred geometry of the planetary systems and all of these things. So, but the sun rose up, it became equal to or conjunct with the moon. And as soon as that happened, I heard a voice that could be felt. So I didn't hear it with my like physical ear. It was like a voice that welled up from within me. And it said, open up to receive this blessing if you have room to receive it. And as soon as it finished speaking, I woke up out of the dream. And the way I woke up, it was just like, what just happened? And what I felt in my heart, like in my chest, in my bosom, or the not the most holy place, but the holy place, in my heart area, heart chakra, that area. It's a feeling that I can't put into words. I can't describe it. The only way that I could possibly describe it is if you could think about like the best things that could ever just come together in your life, and you would just be elated and filled with joy and just all of that. Like if you could think about what that feeling would be for you, it was that times a gazillion. It was the most overwhelming feeling I have ever felt in my life, and the best feeling that I have ever felt in my entire life. Nothing can compare to it. Nothing. Not a single thing of that. It was like, it was, I don't know, it was like something was placed in my heart. It was November 1999. And I felt like, you talk about law of attraction. I felt like I could just go out there and all of the goodness of the world would just be like a magnet. So when we talk about, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but like the heart has this electromagnetic field. So when we talk about the law of attraction, if the heart is not walled with these various things that can, happen in our lives, and it blocks us off to keep us from feeling and all of this, it exudes, and that electromagnetic field attracts the things, the people, the situations, the all of that to us. So when we talk about law of attraction, we have to look at both sides of it. It does, according to the contents of our heart. So that's why we have to search our heart. But in that space, in that time, that was that dream that I had. And I say it was prophetic because it has been playing itself out over all this time. Like I said, that was November of 1999. So you're talking about, what was that, 20, 24, maybe 25 years ago? If this is 20, we're going into 2024. So yeah, 24, 25 years ago. It has been, right, a progression and a growing, right, since then. So why do I bring that up? Why am I even talking about that? Like, what does that have to do with anything? Because remember, I opened up about this soil, this good soil, right? So if we go here and you see what's on the screen, when we're talking about, I opened up with, and you shall know them by their fruit, right? What should be the fruit? If we have a tree, okay, and in this tree, you got the root of the tree, and then it grows, and the last thing on the fruit, on the tree that grows is fruit. And we usually see fruit in what season? Like we start seeing it in the summer season. Summer going into that harvest, or Virgo Libra season, when we have to bring in the harvest, and we have to be as quick in harvesting and gathering just as we were in the time of spring, when we have to hurry up and till the soil and plant the seeds. The same action. So, and you should know them by their fruit. Well, what's the fruit? Galatians 5 and 22. Love, joy, peace, endurance, which is long suffering, gentleness, which is kindness, benevolence, right? Goodness, and this is what I have on the screen here: faith, meekness or mild temper, self control, which is temperance, moderation, goodness, soil. Let's look at this goodness. It's the sixth one goodness. The state of being good, the physical qualities which constitute value, excellence, or perfection, as the goodness of timber, the goodness of a soil. This is why, spirit is like, go get back on. Like record this, post it up, do it now. Okay, I'm gonna be obedient, right? It says the moral qualities which constitute Christian excellence, moral virtue, religion. Of course, that's there. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, right? Galatians 5 and 22. Kindness, benevolence, uh, look, benignity of heart. What did I talk about with that dream? I'm like, my heart, I'm like, I don't know what happened, but something, a chakra spinning, whatever spirit did in that dream, I I felt it there in the heart area. Okay. But more generally, acts of kindness, charity, humanity exercised. I should remember his goodness to me with gratitude, kindness, benevolence of nature, mercy. The Elohim, abundant in goodness and truth. Exodus 34 and 6. Kindness, favor shown, acts of benevolence, compassion or mercy. Jethro rejoiced for all the goodness which Yahweh had done in Israel. Those are scriptures that are there. Now, I'm reading from this American Dictionary of the English Language, 1828 version. Like I actually love using this dictionary. You can go here, look, Bible, Constitution, literature, grammar, education, science, mathematics, medical. So you can, as far as looking up medical terms, like all of these mathematic terms, science terms, in education, grammar, literature, this is one of the best versions of the like dictionaries that you can use. But that when I was reading that struck me. I said, the goodness of a soil, and that dream came to mind, right? And Yahweh told Moses and Aaron and Miriam, if there be a prophet among you, I Yahweh will speak to him or her in a dream and in a vision. Yahweh has given many people dreams and visions, especially at this time, because this and let me you know what? Let me pull up something. Because in this time, in the sixth age, no, fourth age, sixth dispensation. I'm gonna see if I can pull this up. And even astrologically, Yahweh he created time. Genesis 1, 14 through 19. He showed us how to keep time. It is by the planets, the sun and the moon, It said the sun and moon and stars should keep days and times and seasons. So when the sun and the moon, of course, and it's making this orbit, and it says in the stars also, in those constellations, because the stars is what make up those constellations, right? So when you have the sun and the moon in the constellation, so what I actually saw was you had the moon, the sun, and being in alignment with each other or conjunct, that's a new moon. And the new moon always marked the beginning of the month, according to how Yahweh set time up. So, like right now, although the sun is according to the heavens, and there's a app that you can use. It's called Star. What is it called? I have two of them on my phone. One is called Night Sky. The other one is called Star Walk. I like to use the Star Walk one, but they both show the same thing, right? We need two witnesses, and both of them, when I take my phone, I open the app, take my phone, and I point it up into the heavens like this. I can see the constellations. I can see the sun, the moon, the planets, and I can see where the sun and the moon is in those constellations. We're saying, "Oh, it's Capricorn season, Capricorn season." According to how Yahweh set time up, we just entered into Sagittarius. We just entered into Sagittarius, not Capricorn. We're not even nearly close to Capricorn right now. That is how much we have been. When I heard this man by the name of Dr. Henry Clifford Kinley say, and he passed on in, I think, February 9th, 1976. I wasn't even one yet. But I've read many of the transcripts, listened to MP3s and MP4s and tapes and videos. He said everything you think you know, throw it in the trash, throw it in the dump, because it's all a lie. I did not realize how how much we needed to throw away. I mean, we have been indoctrinated, and it's not just through religion. In our learning institutions, where we send our children to school, we have learned lies upon lies upon lies, and the truth is being revealed. And when I say truth, I'm not talking about just religion only. I'm talking about, like, even what I'm sharing now about time. When this Western world, the calendar that we use is wrong. It's so off of Yahweh's timing that it's not even funny. In the book of Enoch and Jubilee, it talks about that. It talks about how the time and the calendars will be so off to where we will be feasting in times that we need to be fasting, and fasting in times where we should be feasting. And the heavens, keeping time, shows us when we should be doing those things, but we had no clue of it. So even when people are, like, "Hey, well, I don't celebrate Christmas, I celebrate Hanukkah," and celebrating it by or observing it, observing it by the Gregorian calendar, we're still wrong. We're still wrong. And so that's what, and I was just like everybody else. Ooh, I thought I knew. And because I thought I knew, then hey, you celebrating Christmas and you should be and you shouldn't be, and this is that and the other, and so forth and so on to the night. Baby, Yahweh shut me up quickly. I happen to, because he put it in me. Apparently, he put it in me to study astrology, because otherwise, it's a Why was I so interested in it? As a child, like the first time I saw my own birth certificate, I remembered the time I was born, and I was 4. I was I 4? I was like 4 or 5. I was like in the preschool or something when I first saw my birth certificate. Preschool or pre-K, something like that. I know that I wasn't in the 1st grade yet. I do remember that. And I saw my own birth certificate, and it was like I looked at an ancient scroll like, "Oh my gosh, it's got my name on it, my birthday, the time I was born, like, wow." And I remembered it. I never forgot it. When I first saw that piece of paper, then, start seeing things about zodiac signs and all of that. Was very interested in learning it. And then when they start saying, I'm hearing, in the religious church world or whatever that, oh, that was not of God, or it was witchcraft, or it was this, that, and the other. And then I attempted to, okay, well, maybe that's not right. So I'm not, and in me, I knew something was right about it, not clear on what it was, but something was right about it. Okay, well, I'll study this in secret. Okay. Or not secret, in private, in my own home. I won't tell nobody about it. That's you know. But I was buying, going to the library, going to the stores, buying books, and then later on down the line, Yahweh revealed to me, this is why all of this that you have thus far. Now let me show you how to properly apply it. Oh my gosh, are you serious? So then we got the internet and the apps. So I see this I can't even remember how I came across this app, but it's been on my phone for some years now. And pointed it to the heavens. I know about Vedic astrology and all the different, astrologies that there are out there, Western astrology, Eastern astrology, tropical sidereal, all of these things, right? And I happened to come across the first one was the night, I think it's night sky. That's the one that's on my phone. But I like the Star Walk one better. And I took it, put it up into the heavens, and I'm like, "Wait a minute." I'm like, "Oh, they're just going by Vedic astrology." No such thing. We call it that. We call it Vedic astrology or Eastern. However, it's just that's a map. How did the 3 wise men, and why did they call them wise men? Because they were astrologers. They knew how to tell time by the heavens. Not only did they know how to tell time by the heavens, but they also knew how to travel, navigate the earth by the heavens map. They followed a star to find where Joshua was born. It's a sky map. It's a heavenly map. As above, so below, on earth as it is in heaven. And it's true. So pointed it up there, and even right now, like download it on your phone. It's called Sky. I'll give you both of them. Night Sky and Star Walk. I think I like Star Walk better because it has this little music when you open it up. And there's more than just the star constellations. It shows so many things, and you're like, OMG. But point it up here in the heavens, and so Venus is in Libra right now. You had the sun being and Scorpius or Scorpio, that constellation is actually a whole constellation because they talk about like the 13 signs. Okaphis holding the serpent, stepping on the scorpion. Mars, you got Sun and Mercury together right at the beginning of the constellation of Sagittarius right now. Pluto, we think that Pluto is in Capricorn, but it's actually at the end of Sagittarius about to move into Capricorn. And we're thinking that Capricorn, and I'm saying this because I'm as an astrologist, I was saying the same thing, putting stuff out, talking about how hey, the Capricorn, Pluto and Capricorn is doing this and that and the other and so forth and so on. And it's not. It's in Pluto. I mean, it's in Sagittarius. Pluto is in Sagittarius. And then it will go into Capricorn, in which we think that it will be in Aquarius, but it'll actually be in Capricorn. And oh my gosh, are we about to see uh some things when it comes to where we are in this country. But yes, please download it and you can see. But I'm saying I said all of that not really to get off topic, but I said all of that just talking about just the education, the things that we have been taught. We don't even have the right calendar. And we know that. We know that. I mean, I know. I knew the Gregorian calendar and all of that. We know that. But we don't understand how grave it is that by doing and operating everything by that calendar, we are off Yahweh's timing. He is not bound by time, but we are, because we're here on this planet and we're off his timing. We're off of his timing. So think about, if in the heavens we're saying, oh, it's Capricorn season, but it's really Sagittarius season. And we know Sagittarius is the sign that comes before Capricorn. It's like we're attempting to be ahead of Yahweh instead of with him, ahead of him. It's like we've arrived too early. And we're thinking, oh, I wish he would hurry up. We've arrived too early. Too early. We hear people saying, oh, such and such was before their time, or before their time, or before this time. That's premature. I've done things prematurely, and I've given birth prematurely. And I'll tell you something about being premature. There are people that were born premature, and it's almost life threatening, not fully developed, need extra care, extra help, run the risk of disabilities without the extra help, extra care. A lot of things being death could even happen. So why am I coming on here saying all of this, and I'm gonna get off here? We're good soil. You're good soil. You are good ground. Allow the seeds, the good seeds, to take up root. Let it take up root. Let it be grounded and rooted, strong roots in good soil with the nutrients that it needs. One man plants, another waters, but Yahweh gives the increase. Be patient. Do not let the tempter, the tester, of course, in the scriptures, there was a Yahweh that Joshua talked about that, right? Like being, there was a sower and he sowed seeds, and some of the seeds fell on stony ground. Some fell, didn't get enough depth of the earth, right? And some fell on the good soil. I pray that you are the good soil that the seeds fell on and were able to go deep within or be immersed in to take up root and allow that process of time to happen for you for you to grow where you can't be plucked up because those roots are strong. Allow the roots to do what they do. Allow that trunk to break through. Allow it to continue to grow, right? And develop to branch out the branches. So you got that solid trunk and then the branches. Isn't it amazing how it all grows out in a Y? That's that's nature. Yahweh putting his name across nature. Or his inscription. The leaves, because the leaves are for medicine. He made the medicine before he even made the food. He said the leaves are for medicine because that comes first. The medicine comes first, and then the food, the fruit. And when you can eat of the fruit, the fruit is so sweet. I'm t- I love fruit. Like I've loved fruit all my life. I could eat fruit all day. I could eat fruit. Okay. It is not processed sugar. It is the sweetness that Yahweh gave for us. Fruit. The sweetness, kind. And nowhere in here where it said anything about nice, kind, right? Goodness. Those fruits of the spirit. Love. That's sweet. Joy. That's sweet. Peace. It's sweet. Endurance is sweet. Gentleness or kindness is sweet. Goodness, sweet. Faith, sweet. Meekness or humility, humble, sweet. Temperance, self control, sweet. And it has seed. And it bear after its kind. And it's sweet. It's good. You eat that fruit, what? In the summertime, it's nice outside, feels good, the weather, right? And you shall know them by their fruit. Green flags, that. That's the green flag. A lot about the red flags, but that's the problem. I mean, that's not to say we shouldn't know what the red flags are because we should know what the red flags are. Red flags. What would be, look, what are the red flags? We know the red flags. We've dealt with the red flags, like all of that. However, in Galatians 5, if you be led of the Spirit, you are not under the law. Now, the works of the flesh or the red flags are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things, I just name behaviors, and they have an action, and you see it. Those that do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of Yahweh. I didn't write it, it was there. Those are red flags. Those are the red flags. And then we have a now it's spiritual in nature, but we must see a manifestation of it. Romans 1:19 and 20. We see it. Yahweh is showing us what that is when we are looking to anything other outside of one that created and made everything, right? That's what he like drive those nations out. And don't be looking to be like them. You're the standard. They're supposed to be like you because you are a representative of me, Yahweh, right? Those are the red flags. So the green flags, the fruit of the spirit, again, if we must go over them: love, joy, peace, endurance or long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. Look up those words in this dictionary. American Webster's 1828. Like, look all of them up. Get the meaning, at least by the English language. If you want to look it up as far as the Hebrew language, because that's where it was originally written, you can download this app. If you type in, go to your app store and type in SKJV, and each word, really most of them are like underlined, and if you click on them, it will give you the Hebrew word, its pronunciation, and the root or the etymology even of what it means. What it means in the Hebrew and the Latin as well. Because it's all about meaning. But more so, we're at the end. We're at the sixth dispensation. And to really know and understand, oh, and let me get this before we get off here. Um First Timothy, is it third? Maybe it's four. Yes. First Timothy, fourth chapter. Second Timothy, third. Now the Spirit speaks expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of demons. If we click on that, a demonic being, by extension, a deity, devil, or God, to distribute fortunes, a demon or supernatural spirit of bad nature. But it can distribute fortunes, but you degenerate. That's why Joshua was like, you can't give me nothing, right? Matthew chapter 4, that demon came to him. That demon bold. You come to the creator who created everything and say, bow down and worship me. You that's bold. That's real bold. Many should depart from the faith and give heed, bow down to what? Seducing spirits. Planos of certain affinity, roving as a tramp, by implication, an impostor or misleader, deceiver, seducing. Seducing spirits. And doctrines, instruction, learning, teaching of what? Of the demons, the deities, the gods. Speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron, forbidding to marry, and commanding to abstain from meats, food, especially ceremonially, articles allowed or forbidden by, it says Jewish law in here, or the Yehudas or Hebrew nation, which Yahweh have created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth. For every creature of Yahweh is good, and nothing to be refused if it be received with thanksgiving, for it is sanctified by the word of Yahweh and prayer. Now, that's not to go and, you know, I'm going to pray over this McDonald's sandwich. Not, we know better. But we're talking about things that Yahweh created that had life in it. I mean, at this point, we really are living off of borrowed time and Yahweh's word, because the food that I know you all have watched that. I just watched it again last night, Food Inc. And there are so many forks and knives. I mean, it's just giving a rundown about the food that we eat, and especially here in America. Boy, we really should be dead. We should. You have to think about that. You have to think about that. We should be dead according to what we eating. Are we still alive? Talk about grace and mercy. We should all have cancers and all kinds of stuff of some sort. We're trying to do the best we can with what we have here, though. Second Timothy 3. This know also. Now, what I just read, do we not see that? I think we see that. We see the marriage thing and people talking about that, and oh, do or don't, or everybody's got relationship issues, and don't you get married, and so forth and so on. Don't eat this, don't eat that. I'm a vegan, I'm a vegetarian, I'm a carnivore, I'm a herbivore, I mean, just all of that. Forbidding to marry and commanding to abstain from meats. Don't eat this food. Don't eat that food. Don't eat this. Don't eat that. Don't. Don't. It's like my grandmother said, "Okay, now that you told me what not to do, what do I do?" Um, you gotta tell them what to do too. You told them what not to do, okay, now what to do? Okay, well, be vegan. Do some research on it. Be vegetarian. In science, we have herbivores that does eat vegetation, the herbs and the leaves and the trees, and yes, they are bigger, but those are herbivores. You have carnivores, they are meat eaters, and you have omnivores, those who eat both meat and vegetation or herbs. Humans, now Yahweh made us, he made us a certain way. He made certain animals to be herbivores. He made certain animals to be carnivores. And he also made us humans. And in Leviticus, he gave us a diet. And you know what that diet is? He said, if you eat meat, this is the meat you can eat. Make sure it's clean. What you mean clean? That this meat doesn't eat dead things. So we can eat it because I made this. Not that it's bad, I made it perfect in its purpose for cleaning up the earth of the dead things. Do things in moderation. We can overdo or underdo. One isn't better than the other. If the vegan is healthy and thanks Yahweh for it, for good health, for what that person needs. The vegetarian, if the vegetarian is healthy, thanks Yahweh for what is for them. The omnivore, the one who has no restrictions to say, well, hey, I could, if I eat a little meat, I eat this meat. If I eat the meat and the herbs and I eat that, and they are healthy. And they thank Yahweh for that. Everything that I'm saying, it's in the book. Say one with a weak stomach eats herbs, and they thank Yahweh for it. The one with a stronger stomach or digestive system eats meat and thank Yahweh for it. And no one is better than the other. That's in the book. Second Timothy chapter 3. Know this also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. How do we know? Now, how do we know about this that we're in the last times? Now, we just read the one in First Timothy chapter 4. Now we're reading the Second Timothy chapter 3. So that's one sign of the end times, that we're at the end of this age in the sixth dispensation, at the end of the fourth age. That's one sign. The other sign is this: for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of Yahweh, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. He didn't say to try to reform it, take it to therapy. You have psychologists that have studied this behavior and worked in the field with this behavior that says it ain't nothing you can do with it. It's Yahweh has given it over to a reprobate mind because it refuses to be corrected. It's like a snake or a serpent that sheds its skin. It sheds the skin, but it's just a larger serpent now, larger snake. From such turn away. You just have to get away from it. This is that behavior. They call it, in those clinical terms, narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, these personality disorders, all of the personality, that's identity. What are you identifying with? This behavior is not of Yahweh. So it's is of another sort. Look, it has a form of godliness. What? Angel of light? Oh, he must. But denying the power, what power? The supernal nature of Yahweh, denying the power thereof, from such turn away. Now, for of this sort, you got to see what they do. For of this sort, they which creep into houses. We just went over earlier how the body is the house, right? They creep into houses and lead captive. They captivate them. What is captivating? You might want to be careful, but they're captivation. It's like how are you attempting to captivate me? How are you attempting? Right? Lead captive, capture. Look, silly women, silly means foolish. It means weak-minded. It means weak-minded. Silly women laden or burdened, heaped a load with sins or offenses. Lead captive, weak-minded souls. Soul is feminine, excuse me. Lead captive, weak-minded souls, burdened or heaped up or overloaded with their offenses. And they're led away with various inordinate desires to lust or to covet. Ever learning, degreed up the wazoo. Now, I'm not saying anything against degrees, but I'm saying when you got a degree or a couple of them, that means that you're well educated. You're ever learning, right? You're a career student. Like I'm a career student in this gospel. I've been learning and studying and studying and studying since I was 16 years old. And now 32, 33 years later, who stays in school for that long? That is considered a research fellow, right? Because at this point, you're a scientist, you're a researcher, you're an observer, right? Ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Ever learning, but when you won't come to the truth though. Now, as Janus and Jambres withstood Moses, Janus and Jambres were diviners. Moses threw his rod down. They're like, shoot, we could do that. They had the magic powers. They knew alchemy and how to do all of that. Thing is, Moses' rod swallowed up theirs, though, because his was from Yahweh. Yahweh gave them their power, and they thought that they were super duper powerful, and they were not as powerful as Yahweh. Janus and Jambres withstood Moses. So do these resist the truth, Men of corrupt minds reprobate concerning the faith, but they shall proceed no further, not going past here. For their folly or their foolishness shall be manifest unto all men, as theirs were also. But you have fully known my doctrine, manner of life, purpose, faith, long suffering, charity, patience. You shall know them by their fruits, right? Persecutions, afflictions. All I know is the people of Yahweh. There was a young lady that I heard the other day on TikTok. She was crying. She was crying. I mean, bawling, crying. And I understood exactly how she felt and where she was because I remember feeling that same way. Like, oh my gosh. She said, it's one thing for you think you chose God. She said, but when he choose you, that was a powerful statement. Everybody's, well, I chose God. Mm-mm. Baby, when he choose you, you it you gonna go through. I I was like, yeah, I understand. I know. Yep, you got it. And she didn't say the name Yahweh or anything, but I knew that Yahweh was working with her because that's exactly where you are and how you feel. You almost feel like you are alone before, because you have to be first before he brings you into that system, right? Or that community of true believers in spirit. And you know them by their fruits, their behavior, right? Which is this: the purpose, the doctrine, Yahweh's doctrine, manner of life, how you live, the purpose. I want to know what my purpose is: to serve Yahweh with all your heart and all your might and all your soul and love your neighbor as yourself. That's the purpose. Now, where he have you do or operate in the field, I don't know. Whether is it homemaking? Is it being a wife? Is it being a husband? Is it through your profession? What you need to learn there? Is it through business? Is it in what field? Is it in the financial field and in education and medical and law? Is it where? In any one of those areas that he put you in, you're still in the field serving him. And in that space, you'll be in the field with some freaking snakes too, in that same field. You got to know how to handle them jokers by their tail or their lies, their faith, trust, right? Long suffering or the endurance you have fully known, right? The charity or the love, the patience, persecutions. That's why I went into talking about what that young lady was talking about because they come. They come. The persecutions, the afflictions. He said, which came unto me at Antioch, at Iconium, at Listeria, what persecutions I endured, but out of them all, Yahweh delivered me. And yea, and all that will live godly or in righteousness in the Messiah shall suffer persecution. That's part of it. That is when you sign up. And then, well, you don't sign up. I was called. Many are called, but few are chosen. Right? When he choose you out, it's like I didn't even do anything to them. They hated me without cause. Now there's hate with the cause. I mean, somebody did something to you, kill, steal, whatever. Like, yeah, but you haven't done anything but showed them love. I mean, like for real. You didn't betray them. You didn't backstab. You didn't do any of that. Love. and love so much to where when you see them going, it's like, oh, I see you basically going into this burning building. And what do? You going into the burning building. You shout, you do, you pull them out and turn around and they knocking you down, fighting you because you have what? Reproved or cor- attempting to correct, but that's what they do. And that's the life. That's the life. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. But you continue you in the things which you have learned and been assured of, knowing of whom you learned them, and that from a child. Now he's writing to Timothy. This is Paul writing to Timothy. But think, I mean, here's the thing. For those who are listening to this and hear it, because that's the only way you're here, or you're here as that adverse spirit. Fine, right? It's part of the deal. You've learned these things as a child. And that from a child you have known the holy scriptures, which are able to make you wise unto salvation through faith, which is in Yahshua the Messiah. All scripture, not half, not a part, not just this verse here, that one here, all. All scripture, from the Canaanized version to the Apocrypha. And in that, there are many books that's sitting over there in the Vatican that haven't been released, because if they did, if they were, right? But just the little bit that we do have, if we study to show ourselves approved. I mean, these days you can, that's why I provide that playlist. You can listen to the scriptures. You can listen to the book of wisdom the other day. The book of wisdom is not in here, but it was written by King Solomon. And he was talking in the book of wisdom. He talked about wisdom. And he always referred through the whole thing. He referred to wisdom as feminine. She. And she, wisdom, she will do this. And wisdom, she will do that. And wisdom, she will listen to it. All scripture is given by inspiration of Yahweh, which is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man, remember, woman is man with a womb, okay? That the man and woman of Yahweh may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works. And that's it. That's it. I didn't even mean to be that long, but it was just good soil. You're good soil. You are good soil. But think about nature and just the process of growth. It is a process. Yes, you're going to go down in darkness. Think about good soil. It's dark. It's dark. You're going to go down. It's good soil. That seed is planted. There will be water. There will be sunlight. And Yahweh gives the increase. He will continue to increase you in wisdom and intelligence and knowledge and love and beauty and justice and foundation and power and strength You will continue to increase and you will be tested. Say Yahweh doesn't tempt, but it's that adversary that is testing you to see, hey, I could take your woman. I could take your man. That's the adversary. Have you considered my servant Job? Oh, that's because you got a hedge around Job. But if you didn't have that hedge around him, that protection, he'll curse you to your face and leave you. Yahweh, we'll see. But you can't have his life. And then all that stuff happened to Job. And Job wasn't patient. And we hear that and the patience of Job. He wasn't patient. He was complaining. He was self-righteous. Because I did this and I did that. And if I thought my children were, out of order, I prayed and I offered up this and I offered up that and I did this and I did that and me, I had did. I followed the commandments. Why am I going through this and that and the other? Because I'm doing everything right. And all his little friends had something to say. And at the end, a young person spoke. And he was very respectful when he spoke. And he shut everybody up, really. And then after he spoke, Yahweh spoke. And Yahweh was like, hold on. I just want you to know who 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 made the Leviathan. Like I haven't even seen a Leviathan and I don't want to either. I don't. I don't I don't I don't want to see it. Who made the rains of the I mean like I created every freaking thing. And Yahweh had to really, you know, and after that was said and done, and Job repented, basically, he was like, "My bad. I am so sorry. My little old what I thought I was doing, there is none righteous but you and you alone." And the minute he did that, then he was restored what he had plus some. Yeah. Yahweh didn't make him misfortunate. He just, because look, why would you want anybody around you just they're only there just because you're giving them things. But then the minute you don't, oh well, I'm out, I'm gone. But we see that regularly. Regularly. And we're talking about outer things, right? Like Yahweh is never gonna mistreat us at all whatsoever. But we know how to be abased and abound. Whatever situation that we are in, contentment. Not that we don't want anything more, but just we don't want it from unless it's from Yahweh because what? The blessings of Yahweh, it makes rich and he adds no sorrow with it. So we wait. We will wait on him. You will, being good soil, wait on your fruit to develop. Wait on it to develop. Ain't nothing, as much as I love fruit, I don't like fruit that's not ripe. It's not ready. Wait on your fruit to be developed. You want to stand on solid ground and not be uprooted. But wait for that fruit because that fruit is sweet. And not only can you eat off of it, but others that you encounter as well. It's another dream. I didn't have this dream, but my grandmother told me about this dream. She was a dreamer too. Um, and then I'm gonna go. She said she had a dream where she was in this like a palace, beautiful edifice and everything. She said there were 2 rooms, and on the one side, it was a room, again, beautiful edifice and how it was, decorated just nicely, and it was just food everywhere, like this just buffet. Any any and all that you could eat, just food everywhere. And people were there and the servers and just everything was nice and people were, you could eat whatever you wanted to eat. And the people were helping each other with hey, if the butter was right there and they passed the butter over and then, they had the plate and one got the plate and oh, let me help you with that. And they were helping each other to put food on their plates and all of that. And everybody was there and they were nice and had good weight for their body and their bearing. Everybody, it was just a joyful, you know, then she said in the next room, she was taken into another room that was across the hall. And in that room, it looked like the same. It was the same, just like the other room. It was beautiful. It was made, beautiful. It had the food everywhere, for everybody is all you can eat type of deal. But the people that were in that room were skinny. They were skinny, frail. They were not helping each other. They were fighting for the food. One trying to get a roll, somebody would come jump and they jump them trying to get the rolls, and the rolls are going, flying all over the place or whatever. Cause now anytime somebody went to grab whatever food plate or to put food on their plate, here comes some people jumping them in order to get the food that they were just and so nobody ate because they were all fighting over who is getting the food that never ran out in this beautiful room and space with an abundance of food. And I was like, wow. My grandmother said, "What do you think that is?" And I said, "Grandma, that sounds like here." I was like, "It sounds like here. It sounds like, if we're helping each other and we're not envious of one another and we serve one another, it's an abundance. But then if we're fighting and we're envious and we're jealous and we're all of these things, we don't we don't get anywhere. We don't get anything." And then she said, "Exactly." She said, "That's what Yahweh was showing me. He was showing me the difference between the kingdom of heaven and what hell is here on earth. And you can choose which room you want to be in." I said, "Wow, grandma. Wow." If you find yourself in those rooms, that it's that fighting and that turmoil and that, but you don't see no way out of it, pray. Like really pray. Ask Yahweh to how how do I get out this room? Lead me and guide me out this room. Get me out of this room. What do I need to do to get out this room? I mean, like, however you need to word it, so you can get in that room that's across the hall where it's the same abundance, but everyone is helping one another and serving one another so that we can all eat spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, mentally, physically, socially, materially, and financially. We're at the end of this time. We're going into the fifth kingdom age and seventh spirit, kingdom and immortality. Um, yeah, be good soil. And with that, I am out.